I got a question for you. Do you like eating on the beach? Do you like George in the fucking jungle? Then oh boy do I got a movie for you. The Whale's a movie about an obese guy who thinks that all food is bussin'. Like bussin'. You should really watch how bussin' it is first, cause I'm gonna spoil it. I know I'm super late to the party, but I just watched this on the plane and I can't keep my fat gob shut any longer. Plane movies just hit different, you know? I came away really liking The Whale, but was surprised to read mixed things from people online like, oh my god, how did they get away with portraying food addiction like that? This movie's so unrealistic. Him eating straight from the fridge is over the top. What? Did you expect him to set the table? Pair the McDonald's with his favorite wine, dab his mouth after a bite, savoring every morsel. The guy looks like vitiligo Grimace. Come on people, we always get these stories about fellas with drug problems, alcoholics, kleptomaniacs, folks with polydipsia, you name it. Dare I say, I think it's refreshing to see a tale about a guy who just wants to eat until he's gone. Throughout this story, we witness a guy who's been on a self-inflicted walk to the gallows for nearly a decade. In his shabby Idaho home, he grieves the life he threw away and wallows in the guilt of his past mistakes and loved ones lost. Knowing he's gonna die, he tries to finally pick up the pieces before he succumbs to heart failure by trying to reconnect with his estranged daughter. There seems to be only one right answer for Charlie to be happier, and that's to stop eating and to get his ass to Dr. Lipo. But the film itself never outright shames him or makes him the villain for choosing a conventionally selfish path. Instead, the narrative patiently examines why Charlie might have decided to do this. Charlie feels beaten by the life he's lived and refuses to put up with it any longer. But despite what we might expect from someone in this state, Charlie doesn't channel his decision to die into anger, but rather wears positivity as an armor to the world around him. Regardless of how mean someone is or how frustrated they are about him deciding to end his life, he turns the other cheek. Sure, Charlie opting to rot away rather than face his past is pretty shitty, but that doesn't stop me from empathizing with what he's dealing with, especially if you've ever made mistakes of your own. Just like the time I went to the Paris Sewer Museum. Yes, it's real, and yes, it's in the f***ing sewer! Of course, we also have his daughter played by Sadie Sink, who is an angry, spiteful person that lashes out at everyone. And guess what? She blames her behavior solely on Charlie, who left her and her mom for another man, turning her into the mean-spirited teen she is today. Fun times! On the surface, Ellie seems to relish exposing everyone's insecurities and manipulating them, but soon we learn that there's more to her machinations than we realized. Unlike Charlie, she observes how damaging kindness and pity can be when supplied in the wrong ways. She takes another approach to fixing people: brutal honesty. She breaks the plate Charlie's been using to feed the bird so that it won't come to depend on his feedings. She lies and manipulates those around her in order to help them indirectly, such as when she tricks the missionary boy into revealing his story on a recording. Ellie then uses the confession to reunite him with his family. She's the perfect foil for Charlie's empathetic and whimpering apologies, which makes the climax of the film that much more impactful. This is all really selling the story short, but the characters are really good. As it goes along, you can just start to tell it's based on a stage play with the blocking and character entrances, but I thought the film used its setting masterfully and really entrenched us in Charlie's little world. Now, Darren Aronofsky is a really special director in my mind because he's capable of seamlessly blending genres in his stories, and while he didn't write The Whale, I found that it perfectly jived with his previous filmography. You see, The Whale, like a lot of his previous work, is almost a horror movie at times. His stories generally tend to utilize relatable characters and places them in gut-wrenching situations to magnify the dread we feel for them, just like in Mother, when we see innocent Jael's world turn into a nightmare as her home and baby are stripped from her. Meanwhile, in The Whale, we watch over 2 torturous hours as a character we grow to really care about and empathize with ends his life, even if it is on his own terms, and has somewhat of a happy ending depending on how you look at it. But yeah, I thought Brendan eating lots of food in a fat suit was fun. My honorable mention has to be the emergency Three Musketeers drawer. That's just elite in its own right. I really have to give Darren praise for seeing this through. It could have really been laughable and pathetic in the wrong hands had someone other than Brendan been in the role. There's a lot more I could say about how much I liked it, but I'm out of breath. But before I go, that ending was just uncalled for. It's just over the line, man. Disrespectful. I mean, wait. What the f***?